Okay, so this week, we're gonna get into micrometers and analysis of the data measured by the micrometers. So here's a typical micrometer components. This part is called frame, and this is your anvil, okay? And this part is your spindle. And of course, the phases in between, we call these little tiny phases right there, see? And that's your measuring phases. It just have different names, okay? The top side is anvil, and the bottom side is your spindle, okay? Now you can see the line here, yeah? That's your index line. Where the reading is a little bit difficult in this diagram to see, but I'll show you later. This is your sleeve and this is your thimble, and of course we have a different scale. Here is your sleeve scale, and then this one is your thimble scale, okay? And of course here is your log nut is right there, and then of course this is your thimble, and this is your ratchet speeder. This one's a little bit better picture, so we can see it clearly. Of course, we try to gray it out when we print it, so it won't cost a lot of ink, printer ink. But anyways, on the PowerPoint, is we can be able to see the colors. Here you can see the log. This is the first scale, in that we call it sleeve scale, and you can be able to see right here your vernier scale, and that's on top, and here is your thimble scale, which is right here actually, okay? And this is your ratchet speeder. You control, okay, the spindle speed with this. This is a typical English micrometer, yeah? Okay, so now you get the two important scales in the micrometer, yeah? Of course, here you can be able to see the capability, measurement capability of this micrometer, yeah? Your precision degrees is written there for you, and you can see, yeah, 0 to 1 inch, and here is 0.0001, okay, inches. So that's how much it can be able to measure, the smallest unit. Then, and here is a little bit better picture, because you can be able to see your vernier scale. Here, see, a little bit difficult for you to see it. So when you tilt it, you can be able to see the vernier scale. In the lab, you will definitely get one of the micrometer like this, and you can observe the vernier scale on the side. And here, and this is of course your English micrometer. Then this is a metric, and here you don't have the vernier scale, okay? So that's the difference between the English and your metric micrometer. So now you know, in English micrometer you have 3 different scales to be read. The very first one, see your sleeve, your thimble, and then your vernier scale on this side. So when we magnify, right, this vernier scale, you can see like this in a big picture here, so you can see all the lines. So what we're looking for is the alignment of 2 lines, okay? The line on this side and the line on that side got to be aligned. And here, look at that, they don't align, yeah? Pretty good as in this line. So this line align best with that line on this side, yeah? So this is what we're looking for when we do the reading, yeah? And of course we're going to read the number on the left. And when we go into practice reading, I'll show you, yeah, a little bit. But right now, just know that there are 3 scales, and we're looking for the best alignment on your vernier scale, yeah. Okay, this is your inch micrometer scales in a 2D drawing here. So when you look at this, you know that this is a 0.1 inch, yes, and of course this is 0.2 inch. See like how we make the standard 1 inch into many different graduated units, yeah, depends on the instrument. So this is your 3rd instrument, and see how we can go all the way to 0.1 inch, and we can see very clearly all the graduated, yeah. You might think like, hey, I don't think that's like a 0.1 inch. It totally looked like a 10 millimeter or something, but it isn't. Okay, the units are very fine because it's a very enlarged diagram, and this is the reason why it confuses you. So the large mark is 0.1 inch. Okay, if you have 2 large marks, you have 0.2 inches. Okay, and when you go from here to here, see little graduated unit here, and you count everything all together. So that's a 0.1, right? And you have 0.025. See, 1, 2, and then about 0.025 inch. So that's a 25th thousand. Okay, in there. So that's how we read it, and I want you to take some time to be able to master how to read the decimal. Yeah, decimal can be very confusing to you initially. Okay, but once you get it, you will get it. So here's a thimble scale, and they're in the. You would just say, like, if you don't like talking in like thousand of an inch, then just go like 3 decimal. Yeah, this is your first decimal, and then these are the second and the third decimal. Okay, after that. So that's how we so first decimal, second, and then the third. Okay, so when you look at it, we see that, oh, that's 15. So it's going to be 0.015 for this. Yeah, and we're going to add them up together, of course. So this is an inch micrometer, so the highest measurement it can go is 1, yeah? So the value will always be less than 1 inch, so don't forget that. It will be in other words, it will be your measurement value will always be in decimals, yeah? 3, yes? Digits. So let's take a look at how to read this inch micrometers. And here is your sleeve, and this is your thimble, and then this is your vernier. Yeah. So when you look at these marks very carefully, these marks are 0.001 inch. So that's a 1/10,000 of an inch. In other words, 4 decimals. Okay, 4 decimals. Don't forget it. The first decimal, second, the third, and the fourth decimal. Yeah, so we go this way: 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Okay, start from the sleeve, go to thimble, and with your vernier. Okay. Okay, so let's put them all together. The very first one, we're gonna go with the 0.1 here, and that's your first reading. Of course, if you don't remember, you can write it down. The first reading is on your sleeve, and that's a 0.1. The second one is this guy right there, yeah? So that's, when you look at it, you have only 1, 2, 3, 4. So each little unit is about 25%, yeah? So we're gonna just write down, and this is your second decimal. So we will start with the second decimal, so 0.025, okay? Of course, we're in the 4 digits in your decimal places of 4. So you have to add the 0 at the end, yeah? Also the same thing for the first reading, we add the 30. This is 0.025, yeah? Then we have 15 here, but we're gonna go all the way because this reference, you see it's stopping around here, and that's between 20 and 19. So we're gonna stop at 19. and it is in your second and the third decimal because the ending is a third, right? So the ending is a 9. So we're going to go 0.0190. Yeah, it doesn't change because we're still on this, a little bit of this section. See that? And that section from here to here, that measurement is accounted by this, okay, thimble scale. So going from here, I'm going to stop around there. So that's between this and this. Of course, we have to account for this little area right there, and we will use a different scale, which is your vernier. Yeah. So the last one is we're going to see the alignment, and the alignment is best as 7. So vernier scale is on the last, which is your number 4, right? Decimal place. So that's 7. So you put like 0.0007. Add them up. Yeah. Your 0.1. Your point 0.25, another 0.019, okay, and then 0.0007. You add all of it and you're going to get 0.1147. A lot of the people forget. I don't know why they forget thimble scale, okay? So it means that you forget this part. So make sure that you don't do that, okay? This one is a totally different scale because it's a metric and you don't have the vernier scale, the last decimal, which is the number 4, right? So we have only 2, yeah, right here and then there. So here we go, 1 and then 2, just past the 2. So we're going to stop at 0.2 inch, okay? And then we're going to come into the thimble scale. So we don't have any marks past the 2 are showing, yeah, so we're going to read it as a 0.00, which is your second decimal is going to be 0, yeah. And then of course your third reading is right here on your thimble, and the thimble is showing you is at 4, yeah. Thimble is a third decimal, so which is this guy, so 0.004, yeah. Altogether 2, 0.2, and then 0, and then 4 is going to be its answer, yeah. So let's do this again. So you have 2 and that is 0.2, and you have a little bit of this and that's 0.025, and then we have to add 0.015 to it, yes. So you would write like this, 0 point and then 2. Here's a point, and then you're going to write a second reading, 0 point and then 0.25 when you take your data, okay? But of course you're going to put it into Excel, so you know how to calculate it. And then 0 point, okay, 0.15, and that's your data taking. Because I want you to do with the note, but today's students are very, very lazy, don't want to do any job at all. So that's 2, 3, and then 4, okay? And then this one is 2. So this would be your answer, okay? If you want me to write the first example down, I could do that too. The very first one is 0.2. The second one that we read is 0.00, okay? And then the third one that we read was 0.004. And you want to add them up, okay? So when you add it up, you get like, this is point, so 2 and then 0 and then 4, okay? Alright, anyway, so this is the in-class, example that you will have to do it by yourself, and I will print it out for you and you can do that and turn in. So you have a 3 in-person homework, okay? What you gotta do in class tomorrow. Alright, we're gonna go over this again. This is your English because you have 1, 2, and then the third scale right there, yeah? So the very first decimal is going to be 3, so 0.3. Second one, okay, this area, you don't have it because you don't even have a 1 mark, so therefore we just put 0, okay? And the next section is this, okay? So that's you have up to 15, but you don't have anything here, not even one mark, yeah? So therefore, we're just gonna go 0.015, okay? Which is this line. And the third one is your vernier, so see the alignment. So alignment is here, look at that. How straight align, and that's we call it best alignment, and that's like 0.0008, okay? Add them up and you get 0.3158, okay? First decimal place, second decimal place, second decimal and third decimal place. This is second and third decimal places, this little gap and that, and the full decimal place is right there, okay? We do this again, 0.3, nothing in there, so 0, up to 15, so 0.015. The best alignment is at 8, so 0.008, okay? So you get 0.3158. Alright, common mistakes. You always forget that little tiny part right there. Okay, you will go here and then jump there. I show you, okay, little by little, because you interpret the wrong measurements and go directly from your sleeve to the thimble, yeah? So be very careful about that. Confusions here. So when you look at that, you have no idea, you know, what the reading is. First you go here, and you know definitely that's the 0.1, yeah? And then the second one is 0.025, it's right in there, yeah? But the issue is like, it's not even 1 yet, okay? That's just like right on the line. And those are the things that give you some issue, because you have no idea whether you should count the one, you know, like on it or not. So we look at the same thing like in the die calipers, the zero cut line, yeah? So we look at the zero cut line, see that? So this reference index is below that 0, yeah? That means that it's, yeah, kind of off. Meaning like we haven't reached, okay, we haven't reached 1. It's there, but no, we haven't reached it. So how do we determine whether 1 is in or not? We determine with this little 0, okay? I'm gonna just draw this. So this guy, okay, where's my pen? This guy is very important, okay? So that line, if this is below, okay, below this reference line right there, then 1 is in, okay? So we know that it isn't reaching, okay, it hasn't reached this 1 because 0 is above the index. So we're not going to take 1, okay? So that will be only 0 starting point. So it's going to be like 0.0, and then the other digit that you have to go in is to see the alignment is around 6.5, okay? And of course, you also have like about 1 here, yeah? About 1, but it's not, when you look at it, so it's go from 20, right? 20 is 0.020, okay? So just pay attention cases like this, okay? Whether you're gonna count the mark in or not. So here in this case, we're just gonna stop at 0.075, but that's only the first digit, okay? We haven't done this and that, so you still have to add 20 and then count, of course, so from here all the way to here and on the alignment, okay? So we'll continue. So that's, we understand that's around 20, but then it's really, really close to 0, okay? And the alignment right here, okay, when you look at it, it's pretty good at 2. So we know that the ending is at 2, okay? Of course, these examples just trying to train you to be able to see where the 0 line is according to this sleeve scale. And here's your index, it's right here, yeah? Or you can see the reference mark is right there, yeah? They got a line, yeah? So here is a line. So we know that we have to count 1 in, yeah? If this 0 is above that line, we don't count it in. The same thing here, yeah? So we're right on the 1. Okay? And here's a 0 alignment is pretty good. The vernier, yeah? The next one, from here to here. So it looks like 0 is above where the index, so we'll not yet reach the 1 on the sleeve. So we're not going to count that in. And just go straight, of course, into the second decimal, which is from here all the way to here, about 75, yeah? So it's going to be 0.075, and then of course add this, and then add that. So here's a tricky reading. When you look at this index, and here, look at this, your 0 is just below, yeah? And our first alignment, best alignment is right here, yeah? So we know that it's ending with 3. And this is only like a 50, yeah, around 50%, because that's like a right below this little thing. So I will just, count it up to 0.05, okay? And here we're at 2, so 0.2. We have no idea this little line, which is 0.025, okay, is on it or not. And when you look at it, that 0 is above, so not yet, okay? So you wouldn't count the very first mark, but count under, which is from here all the way to here, yeah? All the way around here. And then of course, with this little gap, we're gonna just take it 7. So 0.2297. The same thing here. We started out at 0.2. We look at the 0. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. So 7, 5. And then you're going to end it up with 3. Okay. 2, so 0.2. That's about 50. Look at that 0 is above, so you're going to count 0.25. And the alignment is at 0, so therefore 0. Yeah. So 0.2500. Here are like pretty good simulation. Like if you go to this website, I'm going to show you, okay, in class. Of course, here you can click on your PDF, and it's going to take you to the simulator for micrometers, so you can practice reading. Yeah, so make sure you visit these 2 sites. And here is the millimeters, so which is your metric, micrometer, yeah, your spindle, anvil, yeah, your sleeve, and then your thimble. It doesn't have the vernier scale. Alright, we're gonna make it really big so you can see. 5 and then 10, yeah. So let's look at the marks on the metric micrometer. So each mark is 1 millimeter, yeah. So altogether 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one is 5 millimeters. And then go, of course, here we have a 10 issue right there. It looks like not yet, yeah. And the second one is your hundredths of millimeters right here, so which is your 2 decimal, so which is 0.10, okay. So that's your very first. So the first digit is 1, and then point, and then we're going to come to the first decimal right here, yeah. And then the second, of course, your accuracy. So when you look at the thimble scale, we know that each one of them is 0.001, okay. 10 of them will be like 0.10, yeah, but each one of them is 0.01. So your first digit, first decimal, and the second decimal, yeah. Okay, I believe that by this time you can be able to see the markings and know which markings belong to which decimal. Yeah. So 5, 10, and 20 right here. So that's your very first digit that we have to read. So it's about 17 right now. Yeah. But in case of 18, right, the 18 mark is, we've got to solve that issue with this thimble scale. Okay. So we definitely know we have 17, and then we're gonna go into here. Yeah, your index is right there where you're gonna stop and read this thimble scale is gonna be right here. Okay, that's about, to me. Then we're gonna come to the second reading, which is this. Okay, so from here to here is about 5 to me. Yeah, because from here to here is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, down you have to look at this. Okay, so you have about you're gonna look at this little mark. See that? And that upper mark. So this lower mark is, it has passed that upper mark. Okay, so you can see the lower scale, right, showing past the last mark on the upper scale. And look at this, yeah. So that's about 0.5 millimeters, which is your first decimal, right? And then we're gonna get into the first and second decimal, which is 20, and then here 1, 2, about 3 on the index. Okay, so altogether 0.23. So we're gonna add them up: 17 plus 0.5 for this, and 0.23. Okay, and I think the hardest thing in metric micrometer is right here. Make sure that you understand each mark is 25%. Okay, so that's a 0.25. So 2 marks will give you 0.5. Okay, so mathematics in your brain, you should be able to see that 0.25 and then 0.5. We count this because of this mark. If this mark passed the upper mark, then the upper mark is n. It's pretty easy, right? It's n because you can see it very, very clearly. And this more is just trying to index or trying to give you, like support, so you can be able to decide whether this mark you should count it or you don't. Okay. We will go into different examples so you can see how to read it. Okay, so metric again, the very first one, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's about 4 millimeter, and then we come to the second. Yeah, look at that, the lower mark, okay, and the upper mark. So the last mark on the upper scale, right, and the lower mark right here. And you see that the lower scale is after the upper scale, right? Therefore, we're not going to count that in. Okay, so we add nothing on it. And this is what I'm talking about, which is different from the previous. The lower mark is, you can see it, it's, I would just say, okay, after the upper mark. Okay, at that time, you can count this in. Here, look at this, the lower mark is before the upper mark. See that? And so we don't count that in, even though you can see it, do not count that in. We're just going to count with this thimble scale. Yeah, then so leave it 0, and then we will come to the thimble scale, and the thimble scale is 5 and then 6, 7. Of course, here is your index line. When they align, you're going to cut it off. Yeah, so altogether 4.07. All right, the next example coming here, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to write down that, so that's your first digit, which is 9 millimeter. And then we're going to see this lower mark okay, is before the upper mark, so therefore we're not going to count that one in, okay? And then we're going to take a look at it, and the last mark is right here, and you have a lower mark, okay, after the last mark. So therefore we're going to add 0.5 to it. Be very, very careful reading that. It's, you know, it's very, very confusing. And here you might think like, you know, the last mark is here, but then actually the last mark is right here, and it's before, okay? The second lower level is before. Because you can actually see this little mark. Here is, you don't see that the last mark. Because the last mark here in this example is not this, yeah? Where's my pointer? Not this. This isn't the last mark. The last mark is this guy right there in this example, okay? In the other example, the last mark is this guy. See? You don't see the other one because it's behind the thimble, yeah? So when you look at the second mark is after the last upper mark, yeah? So at that time you're going to add 0.5. I hope you get it. It's very important. And of course, if you're stressed, you're going to have a little bit of issue trying to remember this. Just take time, okay? It takes time. So 9 and then 0.5, and then you have like a 0.13. So altogether, when you add it, you get 9.63. Alright, the next one is this. So you have altogether 13, 1, 2, 3. The last mark is this. The upper mark, last mark is little one right there, yeah? And of course, the lower mark is right here. The upper last is right here. The lower mark is before the upper last, yeah? So therefore is 0. And then here 25, 26, about 27, so 0.27 right there. Okay, so altogether 13.27. Meters is a little bit easier for you to read. Then we're going to get into how to write it. So the first reading, the second reading, okay, the gap here, and then the third reading is your thimble, and altogether you will add them up, and this is how we produce, you know, the total, okay, reading of different scales on your micrometer. Common mistakes always lies on that you forget about the second, okay, mark, and you have to measure against actually the last. Okay, I'm gonna just write this down again. Last, okay. I would say observable mark. Most of the other don't write this word, but it is, okay. So the last observable mark, the last observable upper mark, okay. And that's the important thing, and this is where students make, I think, mistake. Okay, most students make mistakes right there. So make sure that you read the lower mark, okay, according to the last mark of this upper scale. Okay, so right here the last mark is this guy, not that. So the lower mark is before the last upper mark. Okay? Okay. And other reading that is going to confuse you in your measurement and readings, something like this. See, like you want to account this 5, right? You have a confusion whether that's 4 or 5, and then it's very difficult to think whether the 5 is the last, right? Last upper mark that you can see. But I would just go with 0.4, okay? But then, of course, some people have tendency to account on 0.5, which is actually 4 and then 5 millimeters that you want to count all the way in, yeah? So in this case, for me, I would just go up to 4 millimeter first, and then I'm going to go into my this section, okay? Will be 0, and then I will go, okay? the very first, of course, decimal, and the second decimal, I will go 45, about 49 right there. Yeah, so you would go like about 4.49. Okay, actually, yes, that's about 9. And of course, don't forget this second mark, okay, is before the last scene, which is this guy, yeah. So therefore you have 0.5 in there. So added with the 0.49 and then 0.5 is going to give you 0.99. Okay, so the reading is 4.99. Okay, it's hard, right? So micrometer, I think reading is the hardest for the student, beginner students, but you will get a hold of it. Later, even the professional make mistake when they are stressed, okay? Because human nature has our eyes have an issue. Like we can see, like the second digit, and then but when our brain process, we might say or write the second digit as the first digit. Okay, these are the human nature, natural inherent system mistake that almost all the human do. Okay, so at one point you're gonna have an issue trying to put this second mark before. You've got to make sure that your second mark got to be ahead, okay, of the last. So right now the second mark is actually not ahead of the last, okay, upper mark. So the last upper mark is right here and you're actually behind it. Yeah, see that? And this is a reason why you're not going to add 0.5 to it. And that's what you would do. But then when you carefully look at it, okay, these are very, very tricky reading I'm just showing. You can see this little tiny, it's a second mark, see that? It's just right there. You can see it. So if you count the second mark as an observable one, and you can count like, oh, that's like before actually, yeah, so before this upper mark, so I'm just going to add like 0.5. You can also do that, okay? So it depends on your vision. If you can carefully observe this second one, right at the thimble edge right there. So that's why we say like these readings are incredibly, okay, difficult to do it. But of course, whether you give a 0.5 or not, it should come around 1.5 with rounding off, right? Rounding off the decimal. So if you go for the really high precision or accuracy, that's your play around. Yeah. So anyway, so this again is a 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we see the second mark. We check the upper mark. Okay. When you look at it, this comes right after this. Okay, right after this. So therefore, you're going to add 0.5. So you have like 4 and then plus 0.5, and then we come into here, and this is like 0.45, and that's 0.49. Okay, and since we have a 0.5 here, you're going to have like 4.99 for this reading. Okay, just go slow, don't do like me. I go really fast, like I have to slow down sometimes, The same thing here, It's another tricky reading. The question is whether this is observable or not, and it is. So therefore just take it 5. And that's behind the 5, so no 0.5, it's going to be 0. And then here we have about 0, and then about, it's not even 1 yet, so we can just relatively say like 0.01 millimeter for this thimble reading, okay? Or you can also go like 0.005, but with rounding off, it's going to be 0.01 for that. So the reading is 5.01. And here the same thing, we take a look at the last, is this, okay, so that's 5. And when you look at this, that is, we have tricky reading right here, yeah? So the second observable marking is before this last upper mark, so therefore we're gonna count 0.5 into it, and then this is just right sharp at 0, so that's just 0, so 5.50. Yeah, whether you don't count or not, it's gonna go relatively around there. All right, so here are 2 more links from the same website. This is, I think, a new website, so you can be able to go and take a look at it. It's just a virtual simulation of your micrometer, so you can play with it if you have time, yeah, and practice reading. Well, that's all for today, and of course, you're gonna use your Excel from now on. I don't want you to use your scientific calculator anymore. Everything you can be able to calculate on your Excel, so make a habit of using it. Okay, all right, that's it for today.